Alright, I'm going to reshoot this because the last one went 9 minutes and it's far too long for a primer. I'm going to talk about hand patterns, variations on 3D pentagrams. So far we've talked about the static one. I'm going to talk about other ways to make a pentagram interesting and bigger, and things that are going to lead to what are basically hybrids later. And those are going to come with, there's 4 of them really. We have the static one already, and then we have the wall plane, we have extension, cateye, and isolation. So we'll go through those couple. The basic idea is we started with this, keeping it static. If I keep my hand in the same plane, so we're going to keep in the wall plane, I can make this bigger, and my hand kind of draws from point to point. Or if you want to do it in a big old circle, kind of going through the points, you can do that. It's kind of like when you do anti-spin, like a basic 4 pedal, you can keep your hand moving in a circle, or you can just go from point to point. It's the same idea there. So we're going to do that with this now, we're going to do that with this. It keeps it in space, and just make sure when you leave enough room for it to come in front of your face. That's going to be a common theme. The next idea is the poi is actually tracing out a shape, right? You can see it in 3D. You should look at the simulation that I'm putting up. The link's down at the bottom. What we can do now is just like when our hand was doing static spin, we could do an extension where our hand follows kind of that path, or a bigger one, or a smaller one. We can do that same thing with this. So our hand's going to follow the 3D pentagram. So it's actually going to draw out the shape, which looks like this, in an extension, and it's going to have to actually move around our head a little bit to get around some of the physical limitations of having a solid body, mass for a body. You can't phase through it. It'd be nice though. So extension looks like this. Basic one. Notice that I'm kind of wrapping past my head a bit. You can clean this up, good for you. You definitely have to kind of avoid yourself a little, but it works. The next one's isolation. So remember, an isolation keeps the point in the middle in the same spot. The same thing's going to happen here. So we start out isolating like this. Trace out this much smaller pattern where the center point there is staying in the exact same point the whole time, which is really neat. Remember, with a normal isolation, we're tracing along the same path. Here, what's actually happening is we're tracing with the hand. If the poi is doing this, tracing this sort of shape, then the hand is actually going to trace out it's going to trace out the pentagram pointed downwards. It's a little wonky. Which is really cool for some of the hybrid variations that come up later. You should definitely look at the simulator for that one. It shows a lot of it. The last one, or main one, that I can do, what I'm supposed to be doing, is the cateye. So now, instead of tracing where the hand was doing extension and following along the path in the same way, now the hand's going to follow along. When the poi goes like this, the hand goes like this. When the poi goes like this, the hand goes like this. And so on and so forth. So it's the opposite. Between every 2 points of this thing, there's arcs going from them. It's like drawing a line this way or a line this way. And now, as the poi goes along one line, the one arc, the hand's going along the other, and then they're meeting up at the same point again. So it's going to look something like this. This one's a little tougher to really visualize the, but it's pretty neat. There is a horizontal cateye one. I can't show you it, but you can see the simulation if you want. If anyone can do it, post a video, that'd be awesome. It looks like a watermelon. I want to see it in real life. Definitely possible though. And remember, again, all of these, they don't just have to go through, they don't all have to be pointed up. You can do them, you can point it down, isolation, point it down. you can go through the pedals in the opposite order. So like, here's my extension normally, going through the pedals, go top, bottom right, upper left, upper right, bottom left, top. I could do that going the other way. So all that same stuff applies. Drill these. They're definitely a useful building block. I wish I'd started with them. Oh, and yeah, and the wall plane. All that applies to the wall plane one too. Definitely work on that one. It's probably the easiest, and I think it's pretty cool. So, play on. Next video will be probably on getting two hands together. But really, we're going to start piecing these things together and making awesome shapes for two hands, because we want to zoom into this one point.